Thank you.
Let's bring this now to the chair of the GOP, Reince Priebus. Reince, thank you for joining us this morning. You just heard Glenn Beck right there who thinks your party's headed to civil war.
Well, look, we've got a process, and I've said it repeatedly. Whoever has the majority of delegates is going to be the nominee of our party. Those delegates are obviously, in many cases, bound to the outcomes of these primaries and caucuses, and so those are the rules that are laid out, and there are no plans to undo the rules or change the nomination process midstream. So we're going to be 100% for the nominee, George, and so that's where we're at, and that's where I've always been, and that's what I've always said.
But after last night, in the past you've called the idea of a brokered convention an extreme hypothetical. After last night, is it a more real possibility that no one gets the 1,237 delegates they need before Cleveland in July?
You know, I highly doubt it, George. I mean, I just don't see that happening. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that you don't know what next week's going to bring, or the week after, or a month from now. I would say that if we have an interview in a month, and it's still some sort of, tied scenario, I think people start talking about it more clearly, but I just think these are hypotheticals at this point. There's a long way to go. There's over, 1,650 delegates, I think, to go. Maybe I'm off by a little bit, but it's pretty close to that amount. That's a long way to go, George. So I think it's as premature, and we'll wait and see what happens.
You talk about.
But the one thing I do know is that we're not going to have, if someone's going into the convention, and they have the delegates, they're going to be the nominee.
Even if they don't have 1,237?
Well, they have to make sure they have 1,237, I mean, obviously, but just like I'm not going to do anything to prevent someone from getting 1,237, that's not an appropriate role for the chairman. I'm also not going to do things to make sure somebody gets 1,237. It's up to the delegates, and it's up to these primary voters in these states that their will be done. And that's what we have to do in the process. So I agree that there should be no activity that alters or plays games with that process.
You've got a lot of other party leaders, though. Mitt Romney, the most prominent this week, saying they'll do whatever they can to stop Donald Trump. He will not vote for Donald Trump. You just heard Glenn Beck saying the same thing. He will not vote for Donald Trump. So are you facing the prospect where you have the potential nominee of your party being opposed by your previous two nominees and a previous president?
Well, but and this is a little different angle, but that's different. Saying you're not going to support someone is different, and it's their right to say those things and to do those things, than taking it a step further and saying that the party, therefore, is somehow going to do something, inappropriate at a convention to create a scenario that is unfair. That's not what we're doing. So, but to your point, it's up to them. And if Glenn and Mitt Romney and others don't want to support a certain candidate, that's certainly within their right to do, and it will play itself out over the weeks and months to come, and we'll see what happens.
Finally, before I let you go, I just want to ask you another question. You had this, your party had this well-known, it's called an autopsy, a review of the 2012 election, where you came out with what went wrong and how to fix it. And I want to play out part of it. You said the Republican Party is one of tolerance and respect, and we need to ensure the tone of our message is always reflective of these core principles. In the modern media environment, a poorly phrased argument or out-of-context statement can spiral out of control, reflect poorly on the party as a whole. If Hispanic Americans perceive that a GOP nominee or candidate does not want them in the United States, they will not pay attention to our next sentence. Boy, you look at the tone of that debate on Thursday night, you see all of your top candidates now not for comprehensive immigration reform, but for some form of deportation. How'd you get so far off track?
Well, look, it's a contentious primary, and obviously, George, there's plenty of drama and intrigue. I agree. I think the tone should improve, and I would hope that at the next debate, things are improved over the last debate as far as tone and rhetoric, and I agree with every word that you just read from our Growth and Opportunity Report, and I think it's really important. I think dignity and respect is something that should be at the center of everything that we do, and I also think that we're all called to be salt and light in this world and the words that come out of our mouths. And so, yeah, I'm on board with the sentiment that you just read and what our party put out, and I hope that the next debate will be a little bit of an improvement on that.
Reince Priebus, thanks for joining us this morning.
You bet.